Hi, this is Rose, and this is the Sovereign Soul podcast. I help empower people to live happier lives and to have happier relationships. Um, I want to speak about inequality today. I don't know if it's inequality rather or equality, because I think personally that is the biggest disease on our planet, inequality. I am not sure anybody else is on their journey, but for wherever my life's journey has taken me, and where I'm at the moment, one thing that is abundantly clear to me is that we are all equal. There is no difference at the core of all of us. We all come from the same source, which means we are all fractions of the same source. We might experience our lives differently, and we might experience our creativity differently, or how we express ourselves differently. But ultimately, we all come from the same place. And when you know that, like really know that, there is no way that it's ever going to feel okay to be living on a planet where inequality is the biggest disease. And that reason being is that when you can see that there is an abundance and there is enough for everybody to have a home, for everybody to have clean water, for everybody to have food, for everybody to actually live in kind, loving relationships. But this is not the case. People are ill, and I don't just mean physically ill, I mean spiritually ill, mentally ill, emotionally ill. And the worst part of that illness is that it's the people who are ruling our world, the people who rule our planet, the leaders of this planet are all spiritually, mentally, emotionally ill, energetically ill. I don't care how well their physical body might be playing out, but the rest of them, it's sick. And how do you know it's sick? Well, because it isn't going to be that hard to give everybody an equal chance in life, actually. And sure, that change will come about perhaps much slower, and sometimes it might mean that people will need to have less, or actually scrub their own fucking toilets, or make their own beds, or do their own garden. But ultimately, if you're born on this planet, a human being, where apparently we seem to be native dwellers and have been for millennia, then you deserve to have a home, and you deserve to have food, and you deserve to have water. Basics, those are the basics, yet most people on the planet don't have the basics met. And I'm not even going into the physical part yet, the emotional part, the mental part. Most people have to live in a constant state of fight or flight. And then let's not talk about it if their physical health actually doesn't stay strong, which again, the world is geared up for that not to be the case. And also, if somebody is consistently in stress, that in itself is going to affect the nervous system, which then affects the physical health and also the mental health and the emotional health. But people are born into an incredibly toxic society, and for so many reasons. I talk about soul sovereignty because it's not only about this world that we're living in, it's also got to do with when we die, and even while we're still alive. I mean, we're spiritual beings, which means we exist much further than just this human body right now. We are in existence through all space and timelines. And that's quite a thing to get your head around. But when you realize that your energy is trapped on this earth when you die, and reincarnation is a trap which keeps people recycling, it keeps your soul recycling, it keeps consciousness low, and it stops people from getting out of what this perceived matrix is. And how I understand a matrix is that it is an energy system that keeps people asleep and keeps people bound. It keeps feeding the same unconsciousness. And this world and how it functions is only a fraction of the leadership on the spiritual realm around the earth. It might go further than that, but that's not what I've been shown in my, let's say, cosmic journeying, for lack of a better way to describe it. But if we're going to do some cosmic journeying, we need to understand that that inequality started long before Earth. I think the leaders on Earth are only a mirror of the inequality on the spiritual realm outside of the physical reality. So when we die, or what's going on the spiritual plane around Earth. Inequality happens when there is a hierarchy. Hierarchy is wrong because it's somebody believing that they are better than somebody else. And the fact of the matter, of every matter, no matter what, is that there is nobody on this earth who is better than you, and you are no better than anybody else on this earth, no matter where you're at, no matter what you understand. That needs to be a baseline. And I don't believe that it's any different in the spiritual realm. If we all come from the same source, I don't get the feeling on my cosmic travels that source wants hierarchy over people or planets or stars or expressions of itself. There is a deep equality and a oneness. We all belong to the same thing. It's like one pulse, one heartbeat. Yet Earth has this hierarchy of energy outside of the physical plane, like I say, just the same as what's happening on the physical plane. It's a mirror. So we have a few leaders at the top who are basically treating the rest of us like puppets or paupers or peasants or slaves. There it is no different in the spiritual realm. There is a big gun at the top, and that big gun at the top has created multiple different matrices. Like on Earth, there are multiple different systems. And each one of those systems, those institutions that actually take away our freedom, is the same thing as the matrices across the planet energetically, which also take away our soul freedom, our sovereignty. There is no difference between the two. So how does inequality come about? It comes about because of hierarchy, of someone believing that they can have power over somebody else, or that they believe they should because they think they're better than somebody else. I call massive amounts of bullshit. Because if leadership, and I talk about spiritual leadership as well, or physical leadership, was done in a way of equality where somebody could see there is one right way to do something. And actually, there's one right way to do something. And that right way is that everybody wins because you are one energy, one pulse, one heartbeat. So if one in that system, that ecosystem, is suffering, then actually you all are. And if you realize that, then you want to fix that issue, or that help that person to become empowered, and help that person to have enough, and help that person to not struggle. And then everybody can get back to a space of energetic homeostasis. But Earth is not designed that way. And the inequality that I speak of, starting in a hierarchy on the spiritual realm, actually, in my cosmic journeying, and it doesn't mean I'm right, but maybe I am fucking right. And I've also recently come across loads of people who actually think this way, and I didn't even know that because I haven't come through it through a book or anything. It's only now that I've been, talking about it a little bit more, where you go, oh, that's actually like a Gnostic belief or whatever, that there is a God that also came from the source, but realized that it could become essentially its own source, which it can't because it's separated already from source when it thinks that it can be that. And then slowly started spewing its need to have enormous recognition over this earth. It was the earth that it decided to hijack. It was the earth that it decided to take. And there's always like a sweet sour in that. But if you think about the biggest religions of the world, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, you have to give your soul away. You don't own your own soul. I mean, that in itself to me is like a massive fucking wah, wah, wah. That is warning, something's off. The fact that the God has been so humanized. And then you've got, like I say, all these different matrices, whether they are different religions, whether they are different, I suppose, belief systems, different societies, different everything that has been then put on so perfectly that the people on this earth actually don't even know where the fuck they really belong, because we don't belong to any of those systems. We belong to a source, which is so much bigger and so much more beautiful and so much more divine than the bullshit that's been sold to us here. And so the reason for this whole explanation is actually to say inequality shows itself in the ways where our differences make us scared of one another, as opposed to just understanding that we're different and that's okay. So it's where you get people who are fighting because of religion, or fighting because of the color of their skin, or fighting because of their gender differences, or fighting because of just general belief systems, classes, political groups, like any excuse to have a Barney because somebody thinks or feels or was raised differently to you. People just jump on that motherfucking bandwagon and away they go. It is ludicrous. Like, honestly, it makes me want to laugh, because if I didn't laugh, I would cry at the stupidity of war and the stupidity of somebody wanting to enforce their, I don't know, their race, their culture, their religion onto somebody else just to make themselves feel better, like they're not wrong. So inequality, again, forms from this perspective that somebody's differences makes your identity wrong. And that also just shows you how strongly identification with stuff is poison and toxic. It causes inequality. It's okay to be different to somebody else. If your differences don't harm or hurt anyone else and make them happy or make you happy, whatever, who gives a fuck? But instead, people want to, I don't know, like make a big hoo-ha about it, as if you being different threatens my entire existence. Now, again, I'm going to tell you that this comes through those matrices, the energetic entanglements and the energetic enslavement that comes upon Earth and then filters through the systems that Earth has in place. So from the spiritual, it manifests physically. So it's really funny to me that somebody can go, hey, I was born white, so I'm better than you. Like, that is just retarded. And I'm sorry if that is inappropriate, or I'm not allowed to say these words because of the stupid woke world we live in, but I really don't give a fuck. It is honestly, that is showing such a lack of any form of intelligence in thinking that you're better than somebody else because of your religion, or because of your skin color, like I say, or because of your social status, or your salary, or your bloodline, just because it came from money. It's all insane, and it's what keeps perpetuating the problem on Earth, is that instead of learning that your differences are not a threat to one another, but actually they just are what they are. Like, not every tree is born identical or grown identical, and that's okay. That's not scary. That's not sad. In fact, it's rather beautiful. None of them are perfect. None of them, but they are perfect. It doesn't matter if one grows a little bit to the left, another one to the right, another one looks a little bit windswept. none of it matters. It's all just beautiful. And there is no difference in every single one of us. If you can go right down to the source of it, to the divinity of us. But we are not connecting with our divinity. We're not identifying with our divinity. Instead, we are identifying with what we think makes us who we are. And I can tell you right now, the color of your skin doesn't make you who you are. Your religion doesn't make you who you are. Your social status doesn't make you who you are. Not your job, not anything like that makes you who you are. The thing that actually makes us who we are is actually in what we are. And that is our divinity, our ability to embrace that divinity within all of us. So kindness, emotional intelligence, vulnerability, these are the things that make beauty in us. And they're also the thing that give us amazing connection. It stops separating us, because all of a sudden you get healthy connection and healthy relationships. So learning to connect with our divinity and understanding that that exists within all of us, and stop being afraid of your differences, maybe that'll be what I'll speak about next, because understanding attachment to identity and then being able to let that shit go, again, has the power to change the world. And like I will hop on probably for the rest of my life, in order to change the world, you have to change yourself. You can't expect anything around you to change. You have to be the change you want to see in the world and take responsibility for yourself. So if you can see that somebody else's differences threaten you, no matter how small that threat feels, you've got to do the work there. And if it feels like a massive threat, well, you're probably not even listening to this podcast, because it'll be so fucking far over your head. But if you're someone who is listening and you can understand that, hey, I can see I'm slightly threatened by someone else's differences. And maybe it's even in a form of competitiveness, like you feel like threatened and insecure because somebody else is better at you, better than you at something. I don't know. But anyway, I'll speak about this attachment in the next episode.